Hello and welcome to the Shakedown. Our mission is to inform people about how the criminal justice system works, the real people impacted by the justice system, and methods to improve justice through compassionate and casual conversation. Hosts of the Shakedown share over 50 years of combined personal experience dealing with Texas prisons and working to change the criminal justice system. And now, here's our show.
And I think on those points, like, no, the courts are not looking to look at the fine, really they don't look at the finer details of any individual. They're looking at, like, if you even look at how a prosecution or defense argues a case, they're looking at laws. Like, they're looking at arguing specific laws. They might look at the circumstances in the case to see but they're looking at it, how is it specifically, does it apply to these laws? Is there a loophole
Yeah.
that can get you out? A lot of times, even on TV shows, when they're arguing it, and this also, and I have to caveat this, it's like 95% of trials, or 95% of people who are arrested do not go have a trial, do not have any sort of trial. They'll take a plea. So, and the reason they do that is because the prosecution will just go up and offer them, they'll say, hey, if you take this plea, if you take a plea, then we'll give you, 10 years. But if you take this to trial, I'm pushing for 20 at the bottom.
Yes.
And so you can try and get your 10 or less, but I'm going to be pushing as hard as I can on 20. And judges really don't decide the sentence. The prosecution is probably one of the major deciders of the sentence.
Yes.
So since we're talking solutions, I will tell you the solution that I look at on these issues comes to, if we're changing how we're going to go about this, then the way it would look is, honestly, if at the end of this, so right now, we talked about how it looks now. Instead of sending people to prison, if we sent it someplace where the entire goal was to rehabilitate them,
Yes.
and to me, that would be the place where we go through and we look at them individually. We see where they are, we make a judgment call, and then we kind of figure out how much time they need in treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And there are going to be some people who need 30 days, some people who need 90 days. There may be people who need longer. And there are some people who, as of right now, we don't have treatments for.
We don't.
And that, to me, that's like a giant failure on society. Now, are those hundreds of thousands of people like we have currently locked up? No. But that should be but is it like a handful, which is still too many? Yes.
Yeah.
So, but in general, we have treatments that we can offer for addiction, for any one of these things. We have, like we said, counselors, people who can train, who can work with these people, can see where they're at, and then also prepare them to get them to reintegrate back into society in a way that is helpful.
Yes.
So then, if that's where they're going to end up, then when you go before that, then you don't need a judge to decide how many years it is, because it's not up to the judge. It's up to whatever their treatment plan is.
Yeah.
And then, so the judge just has to go, well, did this person do whatever the people are claiming they did? Period.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they're deciding.
Yeah.
Well, that's all. And then even more than that, it can also be a decision of, do the victims want it? And does it seem to fit this case?
Yeah.
And did this person do it? Once those things are decided, the judge can say yay or nay, and he can say bang his gavel or their gavel and go, And then if that
Yeah.
person needs it, they will go into treatment because it's not a punishment and they're not
Right.
deciding the time.
Yeah.
So that case is done. And then also, you don't really need a prosecution, or I mean, you might need a defense just to
Mhm.
say if you need someone to state your case better. But it's not about studying laws. It's just about studying, like going over what the specifics were for the event.
Yes.
And
Individualize. Yes.
right.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's like, and it's even not even necessarily the person, it's the specific event that happened
Yes.
and the people who were affected.
Yes. Yes.
And then so then you go, and then so before that, now so now you kind of changed how the courts work. And then so before that, in part of the way that prosecution needs builds their case is they need the evidence that the police have gotten. Well, if the
Mhm.
police aren't building a case, and that's not what their goal is,
Mhm.
their goal, like the, the goal is just to try and, if the goal is to actually keep everyone safe and to
Yeah.
serve the people,
Mhm. That's
then
what
in
it is.
general, and these people who are coming out, like they're supposed to be, they're honestly supposed to be helping with this because
Mhm.
they're now coming out better citizens at the end of this
Yes.
process.
Yes.
So protecting and serving then doesn't look like, how is this person speeding? Is this person, do I need to shoot this person?
Right.
Do I need to, like, what person, like, who do I need to watch out for? How do I need to protect myself? Those thoughts don't need to cross their minds. What needs to cross their minds are who needs what types of help, and
Yes.
what does each specific situation needs.
Yes.
For the most part,
I agree. I
it's
totally
it,
agree.
yeah, well, and that's kind of the process that I'm seeing it as like a change up. But the problem is this is a this is very different from what we have right now, and it's
Yes. Very
and getting
different.
and the
Very different.
and, and it's getting that started. So from what you're talking about, does that fit in from the plan you're talking about?
Yes. I hear a lot of police officers. I've worked in connection with police officers when we're doing different mental health events, as well as, I guess, repeat offenders who are panhandling. And I never forget this one instance. The police officer, they're trained to just take them to jail. And that's an initiative that they're starting here where I'm from, to get them the help that they need. And I talked with one of the officers, and the man was just standing in front of the store, soliciting spare change, but that's a crime. You can't do that.
Right.
So I was there, and I'm off duty, you would say. I'm at the Dollar Tree like I'm normally always doing, going in like it's a new store every day at the Dollar Tree. And I see the cops, and the situation could have went really left because I saw that he was being very hostile, but I saw symptomology of more to the case than what it was in terms of just soliciting. I started to see mental health, in terms of he was hallucinating. And I said, I don't know if that's drugs. So I decided to go over and intervene in the situation with the police officer. And him and I got into discussion after. I said, listen, he's always out here. You're trained to take him to jail. I said, but he may need a hospital. He may be having an after effect of a substance. I don't know. He said, and the police officer really agreed with me in the moment. And I was able to talk to the person and have a conversation and get some information. And due to what I observed, yes, he was having hallucinations due to a diagnosis, a mental health diagnosis. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And the police officers did not know. They said, we've been picking him up here in front of this store every other day. He comes back. And after they brought him to the hospital, the police officer called me and said, I think that's a great initiative because we need a better strategy to just keep locking them up. Just keep locking them up when there's more to this. And I'm not sure. Even what you're saying, and I agree with the intervention, the training, because sometimes they're the first ones on the scene. There's not a therapist saying, "Hey, wait a minute, let me go and speak to this person." Um, Opposed then officers just saying, "Well, I'm trained to shoot first or to protect." It could be more to the situation, and if you're not trained or if you're unaware of the world of mental health and other issues opposing criminal law, we're doing society a disjustice. We're doing the people a disjustice, you know? So I think when we say intervention, it's not just stopping at the courthouses, it's taking it all the way back to every domain. You know, firefighters are normally the first, paramedics and firefighters are normally the first ones sometime to show up to a 911 call. And it's like, well, wait a minute, you know, you have your officers there, but if you're not cognizant or you're not mentally trained or clinically trained, I would say from a clinical expertise or someone who's specialized in this, then it's going to be again the one case fits all. He's standing out here. He's going to be out here again Wednesday. He's going to be out here Friday. We're just going to keep taking him to jail. So, you know, we have a break in the system. There's a gap here, and it could be a simple fix if we're willing to invest in the fix. And that goes back to, again, money. Money, politics, politics, money. You know how that goes. So, in a perfect world, in a Willy Wonka world, it sounds so great. But when you say, well, what is the backlash, or whose back am I scratching? Who is the person that may be getting a percentage off of this how many arrests? You know, you have to ask those questions, because we're talking right now, Ryan. That sounds simple. You can put something into play, right? But we know there's layers to this cake. There's layers upon layers. And listen, if you is are not in the cahoose of the stuff that happens behind closed doors, then that may not be a great solution, you know. And I've seen that, how political it gets, and when money is a factor, and it's like, wait a minute, hold on, is it the cartel enforcing the cartel? I hate to say you know, the political aspect of things, you know, why is this not fixed yet? So yeah.
There it's really hard because, like, and that's the thing is when you get on big scales, like when it comes to like a whole looking at the whole government, it kind of gets crazy. Like, you can go into little laws, like if an individual broke them, they
Mhm.
would be arrested and put away for a very long time. And but when it comes to a government doing it, it's like, well, that's business.
Real.
And 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 it also gets into, and like I'll go off of the non hypothetical. Um First off, like if you haven't read it, and if people listening haven't read it, there's a great book called A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn, which is does a really good job breaking down, like, all right, he basically says every history book is biased because you can't write down all of history, period. You
Right,
just can't, you
exactly.
can't do it. So you have to pick which parts you want to write. So he goes, in general, everyone wants to write about the winners because that's the easy part to write about, because the winners will keep track.
Mhm.
So you write from the winner's perspective. So he goes, I'm going to write from the loser's perspective and see
Mm.
what that looks like. And I'm going to do that. What does it look like from the loser's perspective of America, and what are the
Mhm,
losing
mhm.
groups?
It's a whole new can of worms.
Yeah, and it looks very different, and then you kind of get a different idea of each what was um you know, what did it look like when, from the time Columbus got over here to and then basically colonization and and then starting to have prisons and police and all
Mhm.
of those things. What did it look like? And
Right.
really, even it's not for me when I look at the laws for prison. It's hard for me to differentiate them from the slave laws because even written into them, it says explicitly, like the 13th Amendment, which like is supposed to abolish slavery, says slavery is abolished except in punishment for a crime, which is
Except
very, very intentional because then the southern states can keep their slaves. They just have to arrest them
just keep
as
getting
soon
them
as
in
they free
crimes.
them.
Right.
Yeah. And they still to this day, because I was locked up in Texas, and Texas, they still will send you out in the fields and
Yeah.
work you all day long.
Yes.
So it's and the first every time you get to a unit in Texas, you work. Period.
Yes. And that's
So
all, and you do it all day. It's same thing in Louisiana. These guys work and you work for 25 cents or like the average wage, and it's like, well, you're locked up. But it's like, well, wait a minute. It's almost like extortion because you're working them like I mean, it's insane, long hours, even the release programs, the trustee programs. It's like if I work my way out of this situation, it'll be better for me in the end, good time served or, all of these things, it's just I don't know how do we get here, but like you stated that point, if you commit a crime when you talk about the 13th Amendment, then yes, I can enslave you to work and do as I say because you committed a crime and the law says it. The law says it.
and it's like so it's you said 25 cents. We in Texas you don't get paid,
Oh
period. It,
wow.
and the highest paying prison job, by the way, is $2 an hour. And this is across the country. It's $2 an hour, and that was for fighting fires in California. And you're getting $2 an hour. And the best part is when you get released, you can't become a firefighter because you
My
have a record.
God. You
Uh,
trained on every this is crazy. This is
yeah.
crazy. I can't take my
So
skill and do anything with it.
no,
But they
there's not.
want you to
Yeah,
stay out of prison though. They want you to stay out of jail.
right.
It
They
yeah.
want you. Yeah, they're trying, and that's what they say. That's what they say. They want you to, but like really, all signs point to otherwise that they don't. That they're trying to get you to stay. But that's and this is kind of the general point of a lot of a lot of the like a lot of people I've talked to when they're arguing for keeping prisons as they are and everything. They'll say, well, it's there needs to be a consequence, otherwise people won't change. Or working's good, it's healing, it's all that kind of stuff. You know, I I honestly I love working. I love finding something that I can do. It is it's nice, it's purposeful. I like helping people, period.
Right.
But being told that I have to work or else I lose my freedom, have never hated work so much.
Yeah, that would
Never.
make you have that thought process or that cognitive perception of work, Yeah.
And and then you like when it comes to like I had jobs like working in maintenance and working in supplies, and you'd have access to all of these different all of these different things that a lot of inmates wouldn't generally have. And it doesn't matter any job you have access to certain things that
Mhm.
that other inmates don't
Mhm.
have access to. But then when you're a slave, why not steal? Why not do this? Why not?
Why not
Because
bend the
you're
rules?
right,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. Mhm.
Why not cheat cheat your boss out of hours? Why not? And then this is the mentality too. That there becomes this battle of mentalities
Mhm.
when you get out because there's the mentality of they they took this time out of me. Now I'm going to get it back when I leave prison,
Yeah,
and that is awful.
it is.
Like it only hurts the person
The
who
person.
is, and it's not. It, it's not helpful. So these are the things, like, if you actually took that time to work on helping that person, like teach them skills that they can use outside and then practice reintegrating them back, I can
Yeah.
only imagine what that would be, because we don't do that.
We don't. We don't. And then with society breaking the stigma of, oh wow, they're a felon, it's, or they have a criminal background. You really can't escape your past, you know. And like I stated before, it has to be that acceptance of, okay, this is who I was, this is what I did. It doesn't define me, because it will always be that cloud if you allow it, especially when you're talking about the criminal justice system. It's like, okay, even if a person has served their time, I've served my time, I did exactly what you wanted me to do. The judge, the prosecutor, I'm done with this. I'm even maintaining parole or probation, but it's still the limitations for me, the person, I've played my part in terms of serving my time, but when do I get a break? You don't get a break. You don't get a break even after that. You where's the moment where you redeem yourself? And and I've worked, like I said, in drug rehab facilities where in, people have been incarcerated repetitively over and over again, and it's really like a broken cycle, because they deal with the guilt and the shame of being a part of society. When society says, hey, this is how you have to live this life for the rest of your life for committing a crime, but the only one who's gained in all of this is the judicial system, the court system, the criminal system. You able to get the labor. I had to come out and pay probation fees. I had to do parole on probably trying to get money to get a job as a felon. And then on top of that, I served my time and it's still over my head. Where is the break? Where is the break? And that's why, most offenders, its statistics have shown that homeless people will continue to commit crimes just to have three hots on a cot, because the system, you look at the system of like, wait a minute, they're back in jail again. They stole a candy bar or broke in somewhere because they knew that it was guaranteed that that's repeating it again, because the system has been designed to not set me up for success due to social standards. So where is the silver lining in all of this? I served my time. I did it. I took ownership. You have me in handcuffs. You have me in institutions for plus years or months, whatever it is, and I get out and I still feel as worse as I was there. Where's the rehabilitation? Where's the break?
Absolutely. Well, I think this has been a good talk about. There's been at least hopefully a good starting point for most
Yes.
people about solutions in the criminal justice system. Zelina, where can people find you for whatever they need?
Yes. So I am on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. Oh goodness. And it's the healing experience now. That's my tagline, I think. And I'm also on YouTube at the healing experience. Those that's where you'll find me every day, all day.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on the show
Thank you, Ryan.
and and being a guest. And hopefully we can have you back on here and talk more.
Yes, I would love this. I would love this. Thank you so much again, Ryan, for the opportunity.
Thanks.
You can find
Thank you.
Shakedown merch, graphic novels, and other projects at waywordpress.com. That's WAYWORD press.com. If you would like to support The Shakedown, get exclusive content, and watch episodes live, you can support us at patreon.com/The Shakedown. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment to give Malone that inner peace he so richly deserves.